Hello, Rotarians. My name is Bethany Dykson. I'm very sorry that I can't be at the meeting with you all today in person, but I wanted to do this recording for you to give you an update on me as a global scholar here in Southampton, and if I haven't met you before, to formally introduce myself and tell you a little bit about what I do, what I study, and who I am. So Rotary has 7 areas of focus, and the global grant that I received was in the environmental area, as I'm sure it's incredibly hard to guess from this slide. Like I said, my name is Bethany, but I do go by Thany. This first picture here is me doing some trail maintenance at 14,000 feet, a little bit higher elevation than we are accustomed to here in Southampton. But that being said, this is pretty typical for where I'm from in the US. I grew up in the mountains in Fort Collins, Colorado. My service journey really took off in high school when I was in charge of the local Key Club, which is connected to Kiwanis International, if you're not familiar. There was a lot of connecting the local community with the outdoors, worked really hard to build a community garden, and help the local high schoolers really establish that preliminary relationship with service. I then went on to Colorado State University, where I studied wildlife biology, continued my service journey, although it wasn't with a specific organization at that point, but I did a lot of environmental education, teaching local kids about ecosystems around them, endangered wildlife and environments and things along those lines. So I started out as a wildlife biologist, morphed into a sea turtle biologist, where I worked in Florida for the last 3 years before coming here, and now I am on my way to being an oceanographer. A common trend throughout this all is that I've been an international scholar, and international exchange and being an ambassador is something that is super important to me and something that I feel really aligns with Rotary's areas of focus overall. That picture I just changed was from when I was in Indonesia. So as you can see on this slide, I've studied in the USA, I've studied in Mexico, where I was an Anschutz scholar. I got the opportunity to do community conservation work in Indonesia as a Gilman scholar, did some really cool projects with local communities in Borneo, replanting, interviewing impacted communities, and engaging with local students and just kind of teaching them about the US, and myself learning a lot about Indonesia and Muslim and Hindu cultures that I had never interacted with before. I was then able to do a second semester in Indonesia, but it was remote due to COVID, where I spent the whole semester learning the language in depth. Like I said, cultural exchange is really important to me, and I think really paves the way for international service, connection, understanding, and I think that learning the language is a huge part of that. So that was an important trend throughout my time as a scholar these past several years. And now I'm in the United Kingdom as an international scholar once again, with the Rotary Global Grant. This is a picture of me doing my sea turtle work. If you know anything about turtles, that is a leatherback sea turtle, and you will know that that's a pretty exciting turtle to get to work on. So I'm super thankful for the last couple years that I got to do that. You all are very involved in the service world, so you'll know that ties directly into the nonprofit world as well. I was able to do an internship at Conservation International, working on sustainability in the fashion industry and where they source their products from. I was able to work with community works in my local state that I grew up in, and help individuals who are experiencing homelessness actively combat that by providing clothing for interviews or daycare for their kids when they do secure a position, anything to help them get them back on their feet. And that was a really fruitful experience. I then volunteered with the United Nations as an intern in the Convention on Migratory Species branch. A lot of breaking down barriers there as well, being an ambassador, soaking in the knowledge and the experience of these experts from all around the world with completely different life experiences and completely different takes on how do we save the environment, how do we collaborate, and that is something that really shaped me as a scientist and as an international student to this day. And now I'm at the University of Southampton doing my master's in oceanography, and learning from some of the best folks in the world, with this really supportive network of Rotarians that I have both here and in the USA now. So every global grant recipient is going to have two clubs, a sponsor club and a host club. My sponsor club is back in Laramie, Wyoming, kind of dead in center in the USA, and they so graciously submitted the application with me, chose me to represent Rotary, and thought that I really embody the environmental area of focus that Rotary wants to support research and innovation in. And then my host club here has graciously accepted that request, and they are helping me get settled and feel at home in Southampton, and helping me get involved with service and the Rotary network here as well. So a little bit about what I have going on outside of this master's degree that I keep talking about. I'm a volunteer course representative for my program, so just advocating for student needs, whether it be deadline extensions or tutoring help, and conversely, making sure that the things that staff want us to know are being communicated to students, and I'm really enjoying that position. I'm also a postgraduate student ambassador, which is important to me as somebody who only had the chance to visit Southampton once before deciding to come here. So I really work hard to show people what I love about Southampton and why it might be a life-changing opportunity and place for them to study as well. I am a newly registered volunteer with Project Seagrass, which it sounds like multiple of you know about, as I've heard that name thrown around at multiple Rotary events. So I'm really excited to get started with them in April and use my snorkeling experience, my dive certifications to restore this really critical ecosystem here in the United Kingdom. And then I will be jumping into my coral research project for my master's thesis here in the summer. And I want to tell you guys a little bit more about that, so you can kind of see my passion for the environment, how I'm playing a role in protecting it in the future, and trying to help us understand this resource that is so critical to us and future generations. This slide might look a little overwhelming, but this is my research proposal for my thesis. If you're not a geochemist, please don't get caught up in the words. Feel free to look at the pretty coral pictures on the slide instead. I will be conducting an experiment this summer on calcification mechanisms with the Coral Lab at the University of Southampton. There are currently competing theories on how corals actually build their skeletons, and if we want to understand how they will persist in a changing ocean environment, then we're going to need an accurate growth rate. Corals are incredibly important for financial reasons, natural disaster protection, marine food sources that we all rely on, and ecotourism. They face threats as the Earth warms due to emissions, and we need to understand some key aspects of coral chemistry if we want to not only save them, but prepare for the future ahead. We are seeking to understand what really controls coral calcification mechanisms so that we can move past laboratory experiments and begin to model future scenarios to understand what our oceans will look like in the coming years and the level of risk to coral reefs around the world. We will do this using coral fragments grown on petri dishes, or as you guys like to say, petri dishes, which allows us a unique window into the coral growth process. And it will allow us to obtain the first ever thermodynamically relevant coral growth rate with a known biomineralization mechanism. I'm happy to update you on the results of our experiment at the end of the summer, either in my thesis defense or personally via email if you're invested in the fate of our corals like I am. Looking to the future, first on the agenda is joining Rotaract, becoming officially part of the Rotary family, hopefully this summer. I also would like to prepare my thesis for publication once I complete this program, and during that off year, I'm going to be applying to PhDs to come back to the United Kingdom. You guys did a good job not scaring me off, and I would love to come back to this country to contribute to the groundbreaking research in coral conservation and preserving the environment for future generations. And then throughout that all, I just want to continue to represent Rotary and be a catalyst for international exchange, being an ambassador, advocating for service and education across borders. These have all made such a positive impact on my life, and I hope to share that with people and help them have similar experiences. Before I wrap up, just a special thanks to some important people. Nick and Karen Vaughn are basically my sponsor parents here and have helped me out more than I could ever repay them for. Peter and Rosemary Hall have helped drive me around to Rotary events as well and helped me be a tourist here in Southern England. Nigel Riches had made sure to connect me with the bulletin and making my voice heard in the club, which I really appreciate. And then Thomas has been a great local connection and another young scholar here. And I'm looking forward to some cool service stuff that we might be able to plan either in Southampton or over in Winchester. And then to the Laramie Rotary Club, who sponsored me, and Roland Abernathy there, as well as Mary Swanson at CSU, who's the reason that I got connected with Rotary in the first place. And then to each of you and every member of Rotary International, thank you so much, and I would not be here without you. I would love to connect with you all via email or answer any questions, whether it be on Coral or the United States or my role here as a global scholar. Thank you so much for taking the time to get to know me today and hear what your energy, funding, and support is truly going to. And I hope you all feel a little bit inspired, maybe to go take a swim or stroll around the beaches and experience the ecosystems that the United Kingdom has to offer. So, thank you.